Children Leading Children really began from a passion of just wanting children to realize how much of what they have inside of them is everything that they need. And when you look at the world today and children are out there and they're struggling and they become so insecure and they start to worry about what others think, or they think that something outside of them is needed to make them whole. Children Leading Children just starts that conversation with children, that they can ask one another questions and realize, wow, everything that I need is inside of me. And as we talked about that and decided how we were going to put our passions together about reaching out to children around the globe, it became apparent that two of the things that we would do is share stories about real people. I've had such a fortunate career working with entrepreneurs across the country and hearing their amazing stories and just meeting people who are everyday people that children can see themselves as, and what amazing stories that they would tell for children to start to think about themselves and how they would become someone like that. And again, it really goes to saying, I am significant, I am enough, we are more similar than we are dissimilar, and most of all, that they're loved. So it became just a perfect setting to create stories, children's stories, as well as then to create global classrooms.
Yes. You know, we want to give parents an opportunity to teach their children something in a different way, rather than have it be, you know, whatever their belief systems are, but to have it be something that's I don't know, generic in a way, but it's just truth. It's just real. It's just the way things are. We wanted to help them understand, as Ray said, that children have everything that they need within them already. We all have everything that we need within us already. And the story isn't, and what we're doing isn't necessarily just stories for children. This is to have an impact on the adults. It's children leading children. However, we're all children. You're a child, I'm a child. That's the space we all need to get back to. We need to go to that space where we have curiosity, where we have wonder, where we can forget the busy things that we have going on every day, and we can connect to the spaces of where this is who I really am. This is a reflection of my true self. And that's what these stories are. We feel so fortunate to be working with the people that we're working with. They are jewels of people. They are just wonderful. And there'll be more. We're looking for stories all the time. We're always looking for stories. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a journey. All of us are unique. All of us have our own path. There's not just one. There's as many paths as there are people.
And it's interesting, as a child, I always loved stories. I learned so much from stories, and stories took me away to places I had never imagined that I would visit. And then as an adult, as I visited those places, many of the stories came back to me. I remember the first time I went to India, I remember a story of Barbar and how impactful that story was to me as a child. And I also love words. I love the power of words and how the right words can mean something and make you feel something. And so the words in these stories become so important. And again, the storybooks are just one aspect. The other thing will be our global classrooms, where children will come together, and we'll partner with schools across the globe for children to have that conversation with each other, and once a month come together and ask one another questions so that they realize how similar they are and break down boundaries that we have.
As Ray and I came together in our lives, we came together late. I was previously married and single for 10 years. She had never married, and we came together and were married in 2012. And we both grew up, and interestingly enough, we grew up together. And we never dated, we never had a relationship earlier in life. But as we came together late in life, and we would return to our home where we grew up in southeast Idaho, we really did return home in more of a real sense than we did just going there physically. We returned there in the sense of this was the roots of where we came from.
And it was interesting because as a young girl, I always imagined myself married and with a very large family. I came from a large family, so that's what I expected. And then my path took quite a little bit of a turn, and I went to New York City as a young girl, worked in corporate America, and started to travel the world. And as my career took off, it became harder and harder to stop that. And so today I look at young parents who have started careers and then they make the choice to stop and have children, and I think that's wonderful. My life didn't go down that path, but I do feel that today now, as we work together, having that is such an essential part of my giving back to the children that are out there. And we love when we meet those children. As he said, when we came together late in our lives, it was hard for me to imagine how my life could change or get better from what I had had. And it's been such an amazing journey. It's kind of like a magic carpet ride. Mm-hmm. And I am just so fortunate to have a partner that wants to explore boundaries and just learn. I think being teachable is not only a trait for a child, but continues to be a trait for all of us. And so as I look 60 in the eyes, I'm very teachable.
Good for you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. And as we returned home and we went back to our roots, we began to realize that going back to our childhoods and going back and seeing how things were before, that we could go back to that space, even though in time we couldn't. We could go back to that space within us because it's always there. Time doesn't really exist. The only thing that exists is this moment. And as we've walked this journey together and understood the power of the moment, the power of meditation, all the things that we've done over this time in following our paths, taking one step at a time, we began to understand how important it is for each of us to really take time to be present. And we hope that children leading children can be the catalyst to you helping your children understand that concept as well.
It's true.